Road.
Reliable Coffee Products is proud to be the exclusive dealer in Northwest Florida for Kyocera office equipment. Reliable Coffee Products has been committed to providing professional, personalized service for the last 35 years. They understand that the right equipment does not always fall within today's budget requirements, so they offer several options for the equipment you need today for the growth you expect tomorrow. Call James Mothers at 784-6601. 784-6601. Reliable Coffee Products on Harrison Avenue, just north of Bay High School.
WGSX Lynnhaven WVLQ Port St. Joe. Powered by Panama City Toyota.
And that's out of the ballpark.
ESPN, Northwest Florida.
Transmitting from the CBC Construction Studio.
Are you ready?
Okay, let's begin.
Trip. The Afternoon Underdog Trip. Live and local. Inside the Talk House.
Unleash the Dragon.
On the Sports Talk Monster. ESPN Northwest Florida.
What's up, Panama City Beach, and Northwest Florida? Hope you guys are doing well this Thursday afternoon. You're tuned in to ESPN Northwest Florida. We are the Afternoon Underdogs. I'm David Hayes along with Caveman Rick. We're taking your calls right here on the Red 7T's phone line, 850-215-6290. Got the Atlanta Braves coming up tonight. Coverage starting right after the Afternoon Underdogs at 6 p.m. We're going to have a little... it should be 6:10 tonight. Yes, 6:10 tonight, and then we'll get back to 6:15 start time Friday evening for that opening game against the Phils. But it was a tough night for the Braves. We'll dive into that here in just a few short moments, but not the outcome that we all wanted. However, they are still up 2-1 in that series.
Speak for yourself.
Well, they are. I mean, that's just a
outcome,
fact.
That everybody wanted. I mean,
all right. For, I'd say, 77% of the people listening to us here at ESPN Northwest Florida, that might be a large number just because of the melting pot that we are here with both of the Navy and the Air Force Base and people moving here. And that's one of my favorite things about doing this radio show is the fact that I'm not necessarily tied to one team or one sport that we've got to focus on. And the hodgepodge opens it up to where the hodgepodge of fans that we have opens it up to where we can talk about anything. And we'll talk about anything that you want to. All you got to do is text us 850-215-6290. We've got the text in question of the day. We got Ronald Acuna Jr. Well, we're going to dive in. All right. So with it being just me and Caveman Rick, we've got a nice little guest list today, but we'll dive into the text in question of the day from yesterday. That'll be a real brief response. We don't have too many texts from that one. And then the one for today, I feel like is fun and could kill a little bit of time for us. Ronald Acuna Jr. is going to represent the Atlanta Braves in the home run derby. What other 7 players do you want to see him swing against? So we'll dive into that either in this segment or later on at 4:40, but that'll be fun. Text in your answer. Give me, even if you don't want to give me the full 7 lineup, text me 3 or 4 guys you think it would be interesting to see Ronald Acuna Jr. at Truist Park swinging for the fences. Bad news today on the flip side of that. Checked my email today. I have been denied access for the All-Star game. I applied for credentials. I was going to try to get up there for the All-Star game and for the Home Run Derby, and they hit me with denied this afternoon. So I won't be doing that, but I will be cheering for Sam Peebles. Sam Peebles is going to be there at the Home Run Derby, so that'll be a lot of fun. We'll have him on the show with us tomorrow at 4:20.
with just tickets, though. He's not gotten any press passes.
I know, but that's... I'm
just saying, just clarifying that, yeah.
Absolutely, right. Yeah, but still, very cool for Sam Peebles just to be going to the Home Run Derby right there in his backyard. Excited for him, and excited for the Braves to be able to host that makeup All-Star game. On the flip side of the bad news, we'll get back to our normal schedule programming here on the Afternoon Underdogs, which is good news. It is ESPN Northwest Florida's 8th birthday. So happy 8th birthday to ESPN Northwest Florida. And more importantly, we would not have gotten to 8 birthdays without you guys listening, participating, and also supporting our sponsors along the way. And shout out to Russell yesterday at the end of the show. He just had a few nice words to say about the show yesterday afternoon. So I just wanted to give a shout out to Russ over there in Santa Rosa Beach. We appreciate the kind words and we appreciate just the listenership, man, and the support to go along with it. That means a lot, and the kind words go a very, very long way, and we appreciate you just as much as you appreciate us. Coming up at 4:20, Alan Watson, owner of Golf Plus, is going to dive on the phone with us. We'll take a look at the Rocket Classic, and then I've just got some questions for Alan Watson as a golf shop owner. Ryan Mulvey on the Inside Drive today had Brad Law, Director of Broadcast Ops for Auburn, and I loved his angle of questioning, which is how Brad got into broadcasting and all of that good stuff. It was a great interview. I encourage you to go back to the Inside Drive Facebook. You can go to Facebook or YouTube. Check out the Inside Drive show from today. That was a great interview. So I wanted to go that angle with Alan slightly today. Then at 4:40, we're going to get back to Guess That Player. I had a player for yesterday. We didn't dive into it. 5 o'clock, our good friend, Austin Siegel, who is the Assistant Director of Player Personnel for the Temple Football Owls. He'll be joining us. You know, his dad, Andy Siegel, head coach for the North Bay Haven Buccaneers. Thoughts and prayers, too, with Andy Siegel as well, Coach Andy Siegel. But yeah, we'll have his son, Austin, who used to run the board prior to me ever being here, and just a great young man. He's been on his journey of coaching in college football. I've got some interesting questions for him. I'm sure you'll think of some on the way, and Austin, just a great friend. So make sure that you're tuned in there at 5 o'clock. At 5:20, Sam Kovaris is going to join us. He's got a website called samsportsline.com. He used to cover the Jacksonville Jaguars down there in Jacksonville. He is going to join us this afternoon, and we'll take a little sneak peek into the Jaguars season. Then we'll wrap up the show with a little Legends versus Now, just picking one. The Red 70s phone line is wide open, 850-215-6290. Text in your answer. Ronald Acuna Jr. is repping the Braves in the Home Run Derby. Who do you want to see him swinging against? Give me a few players to read off. We are live, loud, and local from the CBC Construction Studios. You can visit their website at cbcconstruction.com or call them at 850-747-3815. Caveman Rick, maybe one of the biggest pieces of news outside of what we're in the midst of, which is baseball right now, is the NBA draft from last night. Anything at all from it. I'll say this, nothing. I knew like the first couple of names, and after that, I got to be real with you. I tried to get about 3 or 4 people to come on with us and chat with it, because I can ask questions, but I cannot answer a single question about the draft last night. Cooper Flagg went number 1, Dylan Harper number 2. Outside of that, nothing on my half, on my part. 3. Who's that?
VJ Edgecombe, because that's where the Sixers selected.
Oh, so you know who the Sixers drafted.
Yeah.
Who is? I don't even know who that is.
I think he played for Duke, but I don't know.
Edgecombe?
Yeah.
That's a cool name, though, Edgecombe.
VJ, but it's initials V and J, not like VJ Singh, like not like he's from, Sri Lanka or wherever he's from, VJ. Oh, no, VJ Singh's like Polynesian, I think.
Yeah.
Here, so... Anyway.
I'm trying to find out where he went to school, because it says education, Long Island Lutheran Middle and High School. He might have been drafted just straight out of the. Oh, he went to Baylor. He went to Baylor.
That's right, Baylor.
All right, there you go.
Anyway, like I said, yeah, like we talked about it yesterday. These guys one and dones, people not playing. Either A, in college that long at all, or jumping team to team every season. It's hard to remember who's who and who's with who, and unless you're really paying attention all the time and it's like your thing, it's, hard to keep up with.
Yeah, Jack Patterson chiming in, says, I've enjoyed the show since day one. I believe it's 2018 ESPN Northwest Florida became a sponsor for Wrestling Against Cancer and the events that they hold. And yeah, that's somewhere around here we still have the first kind of plaque that Jack gave us for that. We still got the ESPN Northwest Florida Wrestling Against Cancer championship belt in here, which we're so appreciative of, and we're appreciative of all the efforts that Jack Patterson does for Wrestling Against Cancer, and also up there in the Southport area, I believe he's doing some selling and whatnot. So if you would like to contact Jack Patterson, get a hold of him. Welcome to the team, Jack. He says happy 8 years. So yeah, I'm right there with you. It would be a lot more fun if these guys were, I mean, like Dylan Harper is Ron Harper's son, right? He's got Ron Harper Jr. Does he play for the Sixers? Ron Harper Jr.?
I don't know.
And then you have Dylan Harper, who was at Rutgers last year and a heck of a ball player, but Rutgers was garbage last year. So, like, the fact that he was even getting any notoriety, I think, is impressive. It is going to be exciting seeing Cooper Flagg. How often do we see a number 1 overall pick land on a team that has a lot higher of a ceiling than the normal teams who are drafting number 1 overall? We talked about it yesterday. Nico Harrison, the general manager for the Dallas Mavericks, absolutely got the blessing of his life. I mean, whatever numbers he's got around, maybe start using those for lottery numbers, because he was highly lucky getting the first pick, the number 1 overall pick. That saved his job right there. But outside of that, we'll see. I mean, night 2 of the 2-round NBA draft is tonight. I'll try to get someone on the line with us tomorrow afternoon that actually knows what they're talking about. I'm not going to waste people's time talking about stuff that I don't actually at least have a grasp on. I'm not going to sit here and say everything that I talk about I know. That we all know that to be a lie, but I do try to have at least some sense of working knowledge before we dive into it. Your Atlanta Braves falling to the Metropolitans last night 7-3. Just a tough night. Didier Fuentes, hey, young kid, ticks Caveman Rick off because last week he had the high strikeouts. This week, not as, or this start was not as plentiful in the strikeout department. Got knocked around a little bit. We'll see. But that's just the game of baseball, the age that we live in. Not only are you talking about Chris Sale being out, so he's spot starting right there, but we get bullpen games every once in a while. So, yeah, it was a tough night for the Braves last night.
Yeah, I mean, what you going to do, right? I mean, Phillies, we lost today already. We lost last night, too. So
y'all got swept.
Yeah. Yeah, by the Stros. Yeah, because we play you guys.
Oh, my bad.
I mean, it happens.
It's still got a better record than we do.
You can't win them all. I mean, like, there's too many games. So, I mean, in that sense, what are you going to do? You got to, like, lose some. So, all right, we lost to them. And, they don't matter unless we play them in the World Series.
Yeah. Hey, man. And if they don't matter, then I don't mind. Tonight, going for the Braves.
I'm down with losing those 3 if we win the next 3. You know what I'm saying?
No, I don't. I really have no recollection of what you're talking about. It's going to be, you're just going to be chop off, angry, in an angry sense over the weekend.
I don't know about that. I think I'll be kind of happy. I'm just hoping I'll be, looking at Hard Rock and being like, cha-ching, looking at the green.
More on that with Sam Peebles tomorrow afternoon for sure. We'll take a deep dive into that subject of the Braves and the Phillies for the weekend series. Grant Holmes going for the Braves tonight. He is 4-6. The ERA sitting at 3.71. The whip at 1.22. He's got almost 100 strikeouts on the year, sitting at 97. Going for the Mets, it's going to be Griffin Canning. He's 7-3, 3.91 ERA, 1.41 whip, and 67 strikeouts on the season. The Braves do have the 10th best team ERA in the majors at 3.71. We talked a little bit about it earlier. It pertains to our texting question of the day. We're waiting on you guys to text us. What other players would you like to swing up against Ronald Acuna Jr. in the upcoming Home Run Derby at Truist Park? Ronald Acuna Jr. last night announced this right ahead of the game, and he's the first participant. So outside of that, it's an empty field to this point. Longest home run of this year was his first at bat, 467 feet.
First pitch, wasn't it?
Yeah, first pitch. That was back on May 23rd. His hardest hit home run, I believe it's the same home run, 115.5 miles an hour. That was May 23rd versus the Padres. Yes, I love this time of the year for sports, man, where it's like, what in the world are we going to talk about next? Well, how about Justin Tucker?
Yeah.
The kicker.
Free agent kicker.
Free agent kicker, formerly for the Ravens, but he's already gotten his suspension. It did not take nearly as long for Justin Tucker's suspension to be handed down as what it did with Deshaun Watson. Now, also, there was a lot of moving parts with that, and the Texans weren't just going to let Watson go, but when it's a kicker and you had an off year, the Ravens did just that, and his suspension.
And you have precedent now.
Yeah.
So with having precedent, I think it makes it a little bit easier.
Yeah, but Deshaun Watson's situation, what was his suspension? 6 games?
Yeah.
So Justin Tucker's getting 10.
Mm-hmm.
Make sense for me? But kicker,
also,
quarterback, is that it?
Deshaun Watson, they might also...
No, he got 11 games. He got 11 games. So
the time he didn't play, they might have looked at that like a way a judge looks at time served. You already were like in the clink for a while. You know what I'm saying? You kind of did this, so we're going to count that towards your sentence, if you will, and then that helps like adjudicate you like quicker. So I can see that maybe being part of it.
But with Deshaun Watson getting 11 games, that makes sense. Then 10 games, I mean, you could have given him 11. You could. I don't see why not just stick with the same thing, because we're talking about the same amount of complaints for each guy.
So let me just say it like this. I mean, it doesn't really matter what the length is. I mean, seriously, and the reason why I'm saying this is he's a free agent right now. You just mentioned he had like the worst year he's ever had. He's also getting up there in age, long in the tooth. So do we really think after these 10 games he might have a job? You know, unless a team's really hurting for a serviceable kicker,
which is every year,
to try to throw him out there and see what happens. I mean, he might get another shot. But I'm just saying, with the kind of baggage, not every team's going to be able to take that on either. You know what I'm saying? So I think his opportunities are going to be quite limited when he is eligible to play.
Yeah, that's a good one. But I also think that he will get picked up by a team. I have no doubt. And
there's time for more to come out between now and then too, as well.
The way that the Deshaun Watson situation played out, absolutely.
You're talking week 11 now, so now you're talking like mid-November.
Yeah, and his luck, he would sign with a team mid-November or early November, and then a story would come out like the week prior to him starting.
There's people that just, hang out in the shadows and wait, for the right time. And then, like, when something like that comes up, bam, gotcha. So, I mean, yeah.
Now, see, I just saw this as breaking news. So Chef Ross asks, doesn't the suspension start after he gets signed by a team? So let's find out. No, Tucker can serve the suspension as a free agent and is free to sign with an NFL team. If he were to sign with a team, he could attend training camp and play in preseason games before the suspension starts, which is August 26th. He's eligible for reinstatement November 11th.
There you go.
Because it's just 10 weeks, not 10 games.
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah.
So there is that, which is interesting, but I mean that, it does kind of track a little bit. But there's a big difference in taking a flyer on a quarterback who's got that kind of baggage coming with him. Do you really want any sort of distraction from that position?
Yeah, no doubt. And then that's also the position that a lot of times is like waning moments of a game, dude. It's like make or break. If they make this kick, you either go to overtime or win. You miss, going home. So, it's a lot. And you think about the kind of pressure that they have, and then you got all this weighing on top of you, on top of all the normal stuff. Whew, that's a lot.
Yeah, right. The mental aspect of being. I mean, would you say that it's more mentally? Would you agree it is more mentally taxing for a quarterback, though?
Yes, but
But in those moments,
you're coming in cold, right?
Yeah.
You might not have kicked the ball in quite a while. Hell, you might not even kicked a field goal the whole game or whatever. And now you're coming in, you're asked to essentially win the game, or save your team and put them into overtime, So that's a lot, and it's all resting on your shoulders. At one moment, you play other sports, basketball, other things like that. Everybody counts down and, in their backyard, 3, 2, 1, want to win the game last second and stuff like that. But it doesn't happen all the time in a real game, or very few times, unless you're that star player, you're actually, tasked with and trusted with getting the ball in your hands in the last couple seconds to make that shot. But if you're a kicker, man, you're the only guy on the roster. It's it's your job, so... Like I said, that's a lot. That's one of those positions I don't know if I'd want to be in sometimes.
Yeah, I'm trying to find out more on the difference in being suspended as a free agent compared to being suspended because Chef Frost brings up a good point. I just don't understand how you can be suspended when you're unemployed, but you're unemployed by a team. However, you still have status in the league. Like, I'm not a free agent in the National Football League.
Right.
But Justin Tucker's a free agent in the National Football League. So he still has, his name is still tied in the NFLPA or signed in the NFLPA, all of that good stuff. So it does make sense how the league, he's being suspended by the league, not the Baltimore Ravens.
Right, exactly.
Because he can't be suspended by the Ravens because
he has no affiliation with any teams. He has no, nobody owns his rights.
Yeah, there you go.
He does. He owns his own rights.
If someone else has anything to add to that, 850-215-6290. Hit us up on the Red 7Ts line. Yeah, Atlanta Braves are going to be following us here. The Afternoon Underdogs coverage starting at 6. First pitch tonight, 6:10 p.m. Braves baseball on ESPN Northwest Florida is brought to you locally by Bill Bird Kia, PCB Hobby, Panama City Toyota, Hewitt Tire and Auto, and by Hometown Towing. This is the Afternoon Underdogs. You're listening to ESPN Northwest Florida. Quick timeout, then we're going to swing some questions to Alan Watson.
ESPN Northwest Florida, the Paul Feinbaum Show.
I was born and raised a Razorback fan. I guess that curse is real, Paul.
That's the hard part of this, is that guy's going to catch that 19 out of 20 times. Arkansas did everything it could to win the game and then managed to have this jinx come and suck the life out of them.
Paul Feinbaum, weeknights, 6 to 10 on ESPN Northwest Florida.
This is Joanna with your latest forecast on ESPN Northwest Florida this Thursday. The rest of the day, possible thunderstorms and some clouds, and 89 with a gentle breeze around 9 miles per hour out of the south-southwest. Tonight, a mixture of partly cloudy skies and a likelihood of thunderstorms with lows around 76. Tomorrow, partly sunny in the morning and then likely thunderstorms and a temperature near 85. This forecast is sponsored by Mid-South Lumber, the best little lumber yard in Panama City. Thank you for listening to ESPN Northwest Florida. Rely on it.
Get ready to discover new adventures this summer and hit the road in a new 2025 Kia Telluride from Bill Bird Kia. Whether you're traveling on the highways or off-road, you'll do it with grace and grit. Now offering 3.9% APR for up to 48 months on the purchase of a new 2025 Kia Telluride. During the Kia Summer Sticker Sales Event, experience what everyone's talking about. Stop by for a test drive today and discover the perfect fit, featuring spacious 8-passenger seating, premium interior, and advanced safety and technology features. Bill Bird Kia, the home of that 20-year, 200,000-mile warranty. Stop by and see us at 2435 East 15th Street or anytime at BillBirdKiaPanamaCity.com. The road is yours this summer in a new Kia from Bill Bird Kia.
Offer from Kia Finance America for the purchase of a new 2025 Kia Telluride with $2,253 per $1,000 financed at 48 months. Quality limits cannot be combined with other finance offers. The 20-year, 200,000-mile warranty is a Bill Bird Kia warranty. See dealer for complete details. Offer for well-qualified buyers. Must take delivery from dealer stock through 7/7/25.
Now, we're live and local inside the CBC Construction Studios. It's real and it starts now. Back to the Afternoon Underdogs on the Sports Talk Monster. ESPN Northwest Florida.
Welcome back into the Doghouse. Caveman Rick, along with myself, David Hayes. We are the Afternoon Underdogs. We're taking your calls and your text on the Red 7Ts phone line. That number is 850-215-6290. Our text-in question of the day, Ronald Acuna Jr. repping the Braves in the Home Run Derby. Who do you want to see him going up against? Gabriel texting in. He says, I want Marte of the Diamondbacks in the Home Run Derby. We appreciate the text, Gabriel. And thanks for listening. Alan Watson is the owner of Golf Plus. He's over there on the Red 7Ts phone line with us. Alan, how are you doing on this? You know what? ABP, always be positive. It's a beautiful Thursday out there, isn't it?
Yeah, it's not bad. It's not bad. I'm doing okay. Thanks for asking.
Hey, how are you doing today? Alan, great. Thank you again for your time. Rocket Classic in the midst of going on. Give us a favorite and a dark horse for this tournament after the tournament from last weekend.
Yeah, so obviously we had Keegan win last week. He's going to be the first player coach for the Ryder Cup since Arnold Palmer, most likely. this is a big tournament this week, even though it's coming out of the last week was the last of the signature events, so bigger paychecks and all that. But this is still a big tournament in Detroit. A lot of stars there. Patrick Cantlay has not played good in a long time. Not really good like the way he used to play, but he's only 4 off the lead. So, he's kind of my dark horse, even though he's still a big name. Favorite for this week, I like the way Min Woo Lee played first round. He's only 1 off the lead, and his sister won the LPGA. I think it was their U.S. Open or one of their majors last week. And so I think he's motivated to put his name on the leaderboard as well because his sister did so well. So I think I look for good things from him. But, there's a bunch of really big name guys here, but there's also a bunch of guys that, you ran into them in the grocery store, you wouldn't know who they are. So this could be interesting. It could be a week where we see a kind of a new winner on the PGA Tour emerging.
Well, since the, emergence or the lack of a merger between the breakup between the PGA and the LIV Tour, it's been harder and harder to recognize the names at the top of the PGA Tour leaderboard. But James Piot was the first former LIV player to return to the PGA and the first to receive a sponsor exemption on the PGA Tour, according to Golf Digest. Is this a blueprint for a path forward for golfers who might be unhappy with the LIV Tour, or maybe not unhappy, but just their future sets up more nicely with the PGA Tour?
Yeah, I think we're definitely going to see more of this. I think that you're going to have more attrition from LIV, but LIV can also then attract other talent as well. Obviously, they want to kind of keep their star base up and keep growing the stars that they have. Because it's such a smaller tour and you have less players, you can, they kind of have to go out and get somebody. So this will be interesting to see what happens. My big thing with LIV is I can't wait to see what is going to happen with former FSU golfer and multiple major winner Brooks Koepka. He's really the big shining star who seems to not be happy with LIV and wants to come back to the PGA Tour. So we'll kind of see what happens with this other guy, James, that just came back, and then see if this starts to happen more often. And then at some point when contracts end for these big stars, we will, find out whether or not the PGA Tour is going to take them back with open arms, or if it's going to be like a slow way to get back in. I just don't know. But gosh, I would love to see more names that I recognize on the PGA Tour on these leaderboards.
I concur. You're listening to ESPN Northwest Florida. Alan Watson is on the line with us. He's the owner of Golf Plus. They've got a great shop. If you haven't been to it, it is right next door to Firefly in the shops at Edgewater. Go check it out. Go check it out right now and tell them, hey, listening to you on ESPN Northwest Florida out in the car. Just want to go check out some good old golf clubs.
That's right.
Alan, do you remember the first golf club that you ever owned? Mine is currently the driver in my bag, the Nike Sasquatch.
Well, my dad was a big golfer, and so I got hand-me-downs, of course, but they were horrible for me because my dad's 6'2", and I'm 5'8", so it was awful. And so, he would give me these clubs and be like, here, try to hit this, and I'm like, these are not built for me. But I think the first set that I kind of called my own was just like an inexpensive starter set, probably from like Northwestern or somebody like that. It was the bag was just awful. It was two-tone navy and some sort of bad off red, not crimson, but whatever, burgundy. It was awful. And the head covers were those knit kind. That's probably before your days, David. But anyway, I'm older than you by a long shot. But anyway, the clubs were just, pot metal. They were awful. They were, if you didn't hit them right, they did not feel good at all. And, but I still remember that set. I remember going out with my brother and playing golf every day during the summer when we were kids, and just working on our game and trying to get better. And, so, the Northwesterns, I'm sure a lot of people probably remember those from back in the day.
Yeah. What's one piece of gear that golfers overspend on and one that they overlook?
All right, so nobody overspends on golf, especially not at my store. Everybody needs to spend more and more and more.
Yes, sir. That's the answer we were looking for.
Yeah. I mean, I think definitely just because prices have risen so much over the last few years, sometimes just about any purchase could feel like you might be overspending. I think overspending is relative to your budget, obviously. But the one club that I see people buy more often than they probably should is like a driver. Sometimes people will get a new one every year just because that's probably not the best way to do it. And then the one that they overlook really is their wedges, because what happens is the wedges get worn out, but they just keep on using them. So then they don't have the spin, they don't have the grab, they don't have the traction, they don't have anything. The ball is rolling up the face and it's not grabbing, so it's not spinning right, so they're not getting distance and accuracy and all that. So I think people should replace their wedges more often than they do, and maybe not worry about some of the other stuff as much. But as a retailer, I can't really condone that. I need to say that you should just buy clubs constantly for no apparent reason.
So yeah, driver every month sounds good, and then you can get a new set. Let's aim for a new set every 8 months. I love it.
Exactly.
What would you say is the biggest challenge of running a golf shop in 2025?
Oh my God. Well, the biggest challenge is what's called margin, and so if people aren't necessarily familiar, some people probably are, but the margin is the difference between what I pay for it and what I can sell it for. And so the margins in our industry are small, and they are controlled by the manufacturers. So I can always sell something for less, but I can't sell it for more. And so the gap between what I pay for it and what I sell it for is not big enough. So it turns the industry into a volume game. And so that's a little bit frustrating because we're in a small market here. So I'm not going to have the kind of volume that I might have if I was in Atlanta, Georgia, or Orlando, Florida, or somewhere like that. Granted, I would have a lot more competition in those markets too, but even still, you've got a lot more people to sell to. So, we love when people come in and shop with us. We need them to, but a lot of times, of course, people want to ask for a discount, whether it's military or I'm a senior citizen or I'm this or I'm that. And unfortunately,
live in Margaritaville.
Yeah, exactly. There you go. We just don't have the margin to give up. It's not like a restaurant where that soda that costs you $3.50 probably costs them 15 cents for that soda, cup of soda. Like that's a heck of a margin. But we don't have those kind of margins. So, I would never tell anybody that, but since you asked me, I'll just be transparent and honest. That is, it's tough to be in business these days, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Just thinking about that is like the stress that would come along with that, because you want to do good by people, but also at the same time, if you do too good by people, then you're out of business and can't do good by no one.
I would say Alan's business, though, too, is like, I don't want to say it's like a luxury item, but it's usually people with more disposable income that are more into like stuff like that, than your normal person that's, like struggling to get by, I guess, if you will.
Would you say that that's kind of changed, though, Alan?
Well, definitely. I mean, to Rick's point, there's a lot of that. Yes, there are people that have disposable income and play very expensive golf courses and whatnot, and that, yeah, to them, spending a little bit extra is not going to hurt or change their lifestyle, right? And I get that. But there are folks, to David's point, there are folks, like I had some really nice folks that were in from Tennessee today, and they spent quite a bit of money. But if I was just judging off of the conversation we had or the way that it seemed, I would say they were not in that category that Rick mentioned. They were probably more blue-collar, normal American, red-blooded American folks, great people, right? And they probably were stretching their budget just a little bit to spend the kind of money that they did. But that's their choice. I'm never going to tell somebody how they have to spend their money, right? It's their money. And to the other thing, the way I look at it is down here at the beach especially, is if you have enough disposable income to be able to afford to go on vacation, which we have folks coming in from almost every state, right, every year that come down here, people from Canada, whatnot. So if you have the money to be able to afford to go on vacation, then you probably have a little bit of extra disposable income as well. And so I don't feel too bad about it. But yeah, there have been times over the years where I've thought to myself, like, maybe this person shouldn't be making this purchase. Maybe they should be more concerned about making their bills. But again, that's their choice. I'm not going to I'm not going to wrangle them and give them their debit card back and be like, no, sir, I can't be good terms until you make this purchase. I think the people that I worry about, and this is true of, I heard Gary Vee talking about this on his podcast today. I think the people I worry about are the people, that maybe shouldn't be purchasing anything because of, like in other words, if you go into a store and you're looking at an item that costs $45, let's say it's a hat, right? You're looking at, it's a great looking Braves cap, right? $45. Mm-hmm. If you have to say to the person that works in that store, if you have to say to them, oh man, I got to wait till payday and then I'll come back and buy this, then you probably don't need a $45 cap, right? I mean, if that's what's stopping you is that you literally do not have the funds in your account at that moment and you need to wait 2 or 3 days, then that's probably not a good purchase for you. And that goes for just people in general, not just golfers or whoever, right? So in other words, then it becomes, like Rick mentioned, it's a luxury item at that point. It's not going to change your life one way or the other, whether you have that item or not. It's just because you want it. And so I definitely worry about, especially post-COVID, it's been a little harder for some people and the economy's different and all that jazz. So, I don't want to get political at all, but, I mean, if you can't afford the toys, then don't go to the toy store, right? I mean, it's okay. That's okay. I'd rather you and your family eat than you buy a golf club from.
Well, I was about to say, I mean, I sometimes when I walk into the grocery store, I have to, talk to the attendant there and be like, hey, I can't wait next week to come and be able to buy some food.
Well, I just think it's easy.
Those ribeyes look good, but they're not on this week's menu.
If you don't have the money to splurge, man, it's just easier to not go into places like that and not see what you're missing.
Yeah.
Oh, man, if I only had a few extra bucks, I'd have that. Then you end up feeling worse because you couldn't get it. I just think it's just easier just to don't tempt yourself, Don't go past your means.
I have told people for years, the reason you don't see me out shopping for Ferraris is because I can't afford a Ferrari, right? I mean, so I'm not going to punish myself, to your point, Rick. I'm not going to punish myself by going and drooling over something that I can't have, right? So it's just not worth it. But at the same time, sometimes it's fun to look forward to a big purchase, especially we've had a lot of teenagers coming in the store lately because tourism, right? And so we've had a lot of teenagers in lately, and they love to come in and look, and they putt around with stuff, and they'll sometimes ask them, they hit a couple of balls, and we might let them, and then they'll tell us about, I had this kid this week that was from Tennessee, and he was like, oh, yeah, no, he was from Athens. That's right, Athens. And he was like, oh, yeah, I'm putting these 20-year-old Big Berthas. I mean, the clubs are older than he is, right? And he's like, one of these days I'm going to get this, I'm going to get that. And I'm like, and I'm right there dreaming along with him, right? I'm like, yeah, man, that's awesome. I want him to be encouraged that there's a future, but he's not old enough to have a job yet. He's 15 years old, right? So, I get it. So for people like that, it's one thing to come in, look around, drool a little bit, maybe get excited about the future. I'm fine with that. But, yeah, I definitely don't want people, coming in and being like, well, when I get paid, then maybe I can afford to shop here. That's frustrating for me and for them. And I don't, again, I am definitely in a luxury business. To Rick's point, I am 100% in a toy store, luxury type business. And somebody said to me 30 years ago, they said, look, if tomorrow somebody plowed up every golf course in the world, it wouldn't be the end of humanity, right? It'd be the end of that kind of fun, but it would not change the world, right? We would still get to move on with life. So, and I take that to heart every single day that I go to work, because I know I work in a place where, yes, it matters because people are having fun with it and it gives them something to do in their life, but does it matter in the sense of world peace and hunger? No, it does not. So
neither does what we do here, brother.
Exactly. I love it. But if I can escape by watching a Braves game or watching an NBA basketball game, if I can escape for a little while and just get drawn into watching somebody who's way more talented than I am, then that's great. Hey, let's enjoy that. Even my wife, who doesn't even love golf, said to me the other day, we definitely need to go to a PGA Tour event next year. And I'm like, yeah, we do. I mean, just because it's life and you want to go live it and experience it and it's fun. But again, does it change the world? No, it doesn't change the world. So whatever.
Alan, not asking for me, asking for a friend. Does Golf Plus have layaway?
we don't have a per se layaway program.
I'm being facetious, dude.
Yeah, I got you. Yeah, we call it a lay-by.
Oh, okay.
You put 99% down, and then when you come back to pick it up, you put the other 1%.
There you go.
I love it. All right, so let's say that they were going to change up the golf carts at golf courses. They're going to replace it with another vehicle. I'll give you 3 options. You could change up the golf cart to a Segway, to a hoverboard, or to mini horses. What new golf cart are we going to have out there on the course?
I mean, the only one that's even remotely safe is miniature horses, because the other ones, people are just going to bust themselves trying to carry. I cannot imagine trying to carry golf clubs on a Segway.
Yeah.
Maybe that would be, because you'd have to, the weight would counterbalance, obviously, a little bit. But the hoverboard thing, I tried my niece's little one of those one time, and I just about killed myself. And I didn't even have anything strapped onto my back like a set of golf clubs. So those are just going to get people injured. But yeah, miniature horses would be cute. That'd be fun. I can see that.
I think I would do away with the miniature horses. I would make the caddies. This is a movie reference, see if anybody out there gets it. But I would make the caddy carry the clubs on their back, and instead of having a horse, 2 coconut halves, banging them together to make it sound like a coconut, like on Monty Python and the Holy Grail.
Monty Python, I love it. Holy Grail action, yeah. No, I mean, we need something. I mean, golf carts are great, but obviously most of us, like my fat self, I need to be back out walking again. I don't need to be riding that cart, but it's just so darn hot down here in Florida that I think you have people passing out in the heat if they had to walk. Some of these guys, me included, probably.
Redbeard says Bay Point tried a Segway type vehicle for a little while and it didn't work out very well. He said, "Don't be messing with my golf cart."
There you go. I love it. Yeah, I mean, if it ain't broke, don't fix it, right? Yeah. I mean, it works for now.
Yes, sir. What's the I know, again, Golf Plus is we're not giving away lessons there, but I love asking you about swing tips. What's the number one swing flaw that you see in most recreational golfers?
Most people swing over the top, which is that flying right elbow. So when that right elbow gets way away from the body as they take the club back, and especially on the way back down, that causes the club to go what we call across the line, meaning that it's moving right to left instead of in a straight line as it comes down. And so when it does that, the face of the club is typically open, and so they slice the ball to the right. So the big thing would just be once you get the club to the top, as you're coming back down, you just want to keep that right elbow as close to your body as you can. So that's the simple fix for the simple problem that happens for a lot of people. Now, there are some other things that can go along with that, like take away, being out of position and all that jazz. But the big thing is just that right elbow. Got to get that right elbow close to the body.
All right. And Alan Watson, again, thanks for joining us. But what is the product that we're loving at Golf Plus?
I'm loving these municipal shoes. They're called the Sport Cross ATC or ATG, something like that. I've got a couple of pairs of them, and they're like these futuristic looking spiky golf shoes that look like you could play football, baseball, or anything in them. Like they're the coolest looking shoes, and they give you a ton of traction. They just look cool, and they're kind of heavy duty for the way golf shoes are. They're not traditional in any sense. So I'm digging the municipal golf shoes, and we've got them at the beach shop, of course.
Oh, great stuff, man. Get over there to the beach shop. It's right next door to Firefly in the shops at Edgewater. Alan Watson is the owner of Golf Plus. They got a great staff over there. They will take care of you. Alan, take care. Have a great rest of your Thursday, and we'll chat with you next week.
All right. Thanks, guys. Great talking to y'all.
Great talking to you as well. It's a beautiful shop over there. If you haven't been to check it out, you really are missing out, especially if you play the game of golf. We got some beautiful golf courses in this area. Hey, text into the Red 7T's phone line. What is your favorite golf course in this area? We'll show them a little bit of love throughout the rest of the day. Coming up next, we're going to play a little Guess That Player. So keep it locked in here to ESPN Northwest Florida.
ESPN Northwest Florida.
The Atlanta Braves play here.
Here comes the thunder. Tonight, it's Game 4 of a 4-game stop at Citi Field to play the New York Mets.
All Bees with a bullet out towards left field. There's a base hit.
And we've got coverage coming up at 6. First pitch is 6:10 right here on your home for the Atlanta Braves on the Gulf Coast.
A 3-run double for Olsen.
ESPN, Northwest Florida.
This is Joanna with your latest forecast on ESPN Northwest Florida this Thursday. The rest of the day, possible thunderstorms and some clouds, and 89 with a gentle breeze around 9 miles per hour out of the south-southwest. Tonight, a mixture of partly cloudy skies and a likelihood of thunderstorms with lows around 76. Tomorrow, partly sunny in the morning and then likely thunderstorms and a temperature near 85. This forecast is sponsored by Mid-South Lumber, the best little lumber yard in Panama City. Thank you for listening to ESPN Northwest Florida. Rely on it.
Now in stock at Tommy Otto's.
2015 Jeep Grand Cherokee Altitude. Luxury at a value price. $13,995 or a 2017 Hyundai Santa Fe Sport with one owner. Sporty and affordable. $11,995 at Tommy Otto's.
Buy here, pay here. Financing options available. Everyone is approved. Tommy Otto's, 2209 West 15th Street, Panama City. 850-960-8664. For the latest deals and specials, follow Tommy Otto's on Facebook. Add tag, tax, and title.
Los Rancheros has been doing it right for 20 years. Los Rancheros brings a top-shelf dining experience to you with the opening of their beautiful new building. Watch all college and pro games on Los Rancheros' 14 large-screen TVs with great drink specials daily from 2 to 5 and during all the games. Los Rancheros, the place for live sports and great food on 23rd Street between Jenks and Harrison.
Transmitting from the CBC Construction Studio. ESPN Northwest Florida. The tradition continues.
It is a walk-off home run for Sean Murphy into the Braves bullpen.
Now back to the Afternoon Underdogs.
ESPN, Northwest Florida.
Welcome back into the Doghouse built by CBC Construction. Visit their website at cbcconstruction.com. Call them at 850-747-3815. We are going to be doing our text-in question of the day today. So text in who you want to see go up against Ronald Acuna Jr. in the home run derby. 850-215-6290 on the Red 7T's phone line. You can also text in our call-in question of the day from yesterday, or texting question, who's the most iconic cartoon character of all time? We'll read off all of the comments from that. Our Guess That Player segment today is going to be from Hiller Plumbing. Our confident service technicians will provide you with the solution for any home, plumbing, heating, or cooling problem. Let us show you how we can make you a happy Hiller customer. Contact your trusted licensed technician in Panama City today. Just visit their website, happyhiller.com. You should be able to get a number there if you would prefer to call. Guess that player for today. I'm going to give away the first 4 hints. All right, for your chance to win a 12-pack of Buffalo Rock and $25 to not the, but that boot store. We'll give away the first 4 hints, and if that caller can't get it, on the next caller, we'll give away the final and fifth and final hint. This player played for the Toronto Blue Jays. He played for the Los Angeles Dodgers. He played for the Atlanta Braves and the Kansas City Royals. He's a utility player. He's got 51 career home runs, and he hails from the USA. 850-215-6290. He played for Toronto. That is a huge hint. The next, he played for the Dodgers after that. He had a big name. He's got a legacy name as well. Quick stop for the Braves. I don't know if he ever made it up to the major league level with the Braves, and I'm not sure what he did with the Royals. Rice State Chris says Brock Sampson from the Venture Brothers. He is voiced by the same guy who voices Joe from Family Guy. I'm not even sure what that's got to do with anything. But 850-215-6290 if you want to play Guess That Player with us. Oh, maybe he's talking about cartoons. Brock Sampson, right? Gotta be. But he's talking about an actual person, not a cartoon character. So what cartoon character? I guess he's looking for Joe from Family Guy. So there you go. Who's your favorite cartoon character of all time?
Oh, man, favorite, I don't know. I was just going to say, like, the most favorite, I think most people would probably say is probably something like Mickey Mouse or Bugs Bunny, obviously. Those are probably the two biggest ones.
So I'll read through some of the comments. You don't have a favorite one, though? Because mine is one of the two that you mentioned. Actually, I'm going to go with a third one since that one's been so widely used. All right.
A minute to think of what mine would be.
All right, I'll give you a minute there. Chef Ross says, living in Florida, we are obligated to say Mickey. But my first thought was Bugs Bunny. After all, Bugs saved the planet from the Martians, played multiple sports, and was never shot by Elmer Fudd, so I'm going with Bugs. Now, the reason why I was going to go with Bugs Bunny is because, well, my cousin, I had big front teeth, and when I was younger, I didn't grow into them. So my cousins would bully me and call me Bugs Bunny. And I loved it so much so that my mom dressed us up for Halloween. She made my brother Alex a carrot, and I was Bugs Bunny. I asked her to send me that picture, but she's actually in the Grand Canyon right now. She keeps that picture in her Bible, so I was going to have her send that to me, and I was going to post it, but don't have the picture. Anyways, Bugs Bunny, one of my favorites. We'll move on, and I'll give you who's going to be my answer for this since so many people went with Bugs Bunny. Coach Bush Bernard said Bugs Bunny. He's the GOAT. Jake Baxter is going with the Transformers. It looks like he's got Optimus Prime here. Me not being a huge Transformers guy, I don't necessarily know. Jack Patterson coming in with Road Runner and Coyote. That is Wile E. Coyote. That's a good one. Sam Peoples going Bugs Bunny or Mickey Mouse. Boston Tim chiming in. He says, okay, this is a loaded question here. You've got He-Man, Skeletor for action.
Right.
You got Pepe Le Pew was funny, slick. Ninja Turtles best group. Oh, I gotta agree with that, man. What was your favorite Ninja Turtle? I'm gonna mess up because I never called them by their names.
Probably Michelangelo, I guess.
Michelangelo Orange, or is that red?
Yeah, orange.
Okay, so what? So my favorite, the blue one was Donatello, right?
Leonardo. Donatello was purple. Raphael was red.
Okay, yep, there you go. So my favorite was Leo then.
Yeah.
Leonardo, because it was the blue. That's easy. Going back to the Facebook comments, we've got Coach Siegel, the Tasmanian Devil, and Roadrunner.
I would say, for me, Scooby-Doo probably, man.
Ooh.
Scooby-Doo is classic, man. They had all the great episodes. They had all the famous people, too. Like, they had, Scooby-Doo meets, the Harlem Globetrotters, and then, like Sonny and Cher, and, who was some of the other people? I mean, it was a ton of all these celebrities from back in the day that, they also did episodes with. So, yeah, I think Scooby-Doo.
All right, Scooby-Doo is a good one. I forgot that I got Thursdays. I forgot that I have Jay Chapman coming in weekly on Thursdays with us. So I'm actually making a huge shift in our game plan coming up. We're still going to have Austin on, and then I'll move Sam Kavaris to tomorrow. Lord willing, all of this will work out on the fly, and that is just a good old forgetfulness on behalf of myself. Gator Jamie chiming in. He says Foghorn Leghorn, a.k.a. James Hill, and then Bill Horner chimes in. He says Bugs is the GOAT, the epitome of cool. Absolutely agree with that. I'll go with another option. I loved all the options there, but growing up, my mom really had us into the Winnie the Pooh Bear and stuff like that. My favorite from that was probably Tigger, but Winnie the Pooh was absolutely iconic. You can call me soft. I don't care.
No, I'm just.
I don't care, Caveman Rick. Call me what you want to call me, brother.
Not my taste.
But none of the nice ones that we were talking about was necessarily your taste.
The spook. Man, I'm the kind of kid. I was watching horror movies when I was 5, 6 years old. So there you go.
Yeah, well, there you go. All right, what else do you want to dive into here, Caveman Rick? Let's talk about the Home Run Derby. Who from the Phillies would you like to see in the Home Run Derby?
Harper's a little injured, so obviously don't want him. I mean, Schwarber, he's the guy leading us in home runs, so why not Schwarber? I would say he's probably the most qualified out of the bunch.
All right, so we'll go over here to Chef Ross. He's got an interesting list. I don't know how one of them would work out, though, but he's got Shohei Ohtani. Do you think Ohtani would get into the Home Run Derby?
No.
I don't think so either, especially getting back into pitching.
I think a lot of these guys, too, it's like the dunk contest. It's like they're almost afraid to go out there and have a bad showing. So they don't want to go out there and I don't want to say embarrass themselves, because these guys that we're going to name, they're all well qualified to get home runs. It's just if you go out there when all eyes are on you for that time and you just don't do so well, then it brings up a lot of questions down the road after the fact. Especially now with how we know how people do in the home run derby, and then it hurts their or affects their swing later on in the season after that.
Yeah, that's why I'm a little worried about Ronald Acuna Jr., but if there's ever a season to do it, one, the Braves are hosting, right? So there needs to be some representative there if we can have it. And then two, this isn't the worst season in the world for him to do that with the way things are lining up. 5 games under 500, sure, which is what I asked for at the All-Star break. If they could be somewhere around there, I am good to go with that. Let's see. He's got Aaron Judge. Do you think Aaron Judge would participate in the home run derby? That's another one I don't. It would be beautiful, but I don't think that it would happen. Cal Raleigh needs to.
He should, but
do you think it could affect his swing too much, so he'd stay out of it?
Probably so.
I'm going to add Cal Raleigh to my list, though. So I've got Ronnie, because I want it to be people who I think would play as well. I'll go Cal Raleigh. Let's see. Next on the list, Schwarber would be fun. I would love to see a member from the Phillies and the Mets in it as well. Pete Alonso, Polar Bear Pete.
That's pretty much who you have to go with if you're going to go with somebody from that team.
All right, so we'll go Schwarbs. Who's another guy that I would like to see? You think Fernando Tatis would be interesting? That's also on Chef Ross's list here.
Probably not.
See, I would like to see Tatis in it. Rafael Devers, no, lost a little bit of luster. I mean, that would be cool, because let's see, what do we got right now? 1, 2, 3 National Leaguers and only 1 American Leaguer. So I need 3 more American Leaguers and 1 more National Leaguer. Freddie Freeman, I don't think he would do well in the home run derby.
I don't think he did.
If he wanted to, he could. But I think it would be really cool for the Atlanta crowd to have Freddie Freeman in the home run derby.
Like Ellie?
Oh, Ellie. Oh, if I'm the Reds, ain't no way I'm letting Ellie De La Cruz participate. You talk about ruining the swing. Yeah. Not that his swing is bad, but he just has that strikeout tendency, and you don't want to see that get any worse by participating in the home run derby. However, the electricity that would come from that would be a ton of fun. We can take a look real quick here at the home run leaders. You got Cal Raleigh, we already know that. Aaron Judge and Shohei Ohtani at 28 and 27, respectively. You got Eugenio Suarez for the Arizona Diamondbacks at 25 home runs. You've also got James Wood with the Washington Nationals at 22. How about PCA? Him and Seiya Suzuki are at 21, both with the Chicago Cubs. Would you rather see PCA or Corbin Carroll in the home run derby?
Probably Armstrong this year.
Or does Soto dive back into it?
Probably not again. Same kind of thing. He's getting paid a boatload of money.
Yeah.
Got big expectations. He really needs to perform in New York. Doesn't need to just go out and have a showing in a home run derby and then lay an egg the rest of the season.
Yeah.
Trying to think
anyone else on your radar that you'd love to see in the home run derby?
Vlad maybe, or somebody like
Vladdy
that.
Jr. got hit by a pitch today.
Oh, did he?
So that could be an issue. Freddie Freeman would be my final. That would be my final National League guy. Then I would go back over to the American League. Well, we're getting ready to take. How many seconds do I have over here? Because that clock.
We got about 45 seconds.
45 seconds. All right. Why do we have so many guys in the National League leading home runs right now? No names coming to mind for you as well.
The pitching's better in the American League, and that's why.
I
don't know.
No idea.
Yeah,
I have no idea on that. We already had Ketel Marte come through. Shohei, see, that's the thing. Having Shohei and Judge in this would just it would make the home run derby what we wanted it to be, or what we've been expecting it to be. You know what I mean? Because it's felt like we're just getting, like the slam dunk contest in the NBA, like we're just getting the scraps rather than getting the best. You're riding with the Afternoon Underdogs. This is ESPN Northwest Florida. We're going to take a quick timeout. When we get back, we'll have Austin Siegel on with us.
ESPN Northwest Florida.
The Atlanta Braves play here.
Here comes the thunder.
Tonight, it's Game 4 of a 4-game stop at Citi Field to play the New York Mets.
All Bees with a bullet out towards left field. There's a base hit.
And we've got coverage coming up at 6. First pitch is 6:10 right here on your home for the Atlanta Braves on the Gulf Coast.
A 3-run double for Olsen.
ESPN Northwest Florida.
This is Joanna with your latest forecast on ESPN Northwest Florida this Thursday. The rest of the day, possible thunderstorms and some clouds, and 89 with a gentle breeze around 9 miles per hour out of the south-southwest. Tonight, a mixture of partly cloudy skies and a likelihood of thunderstorms with lows around 76. Tomorrow, partly sunny in the morning and then likely thunderstorms and a temperature near 85. This forecast is sponsored by Mid-South Lumber, the best little lumber yard in Panama City. Thank you for listening to ESPN Northwest Florida. Rely on it.
Mid-South Lumber, where they treat you like family. Locally owned and serving the residents of Bay County for over 45 years. See Mid-South Lumber for all of your DIY projects, including windows, doors, siding, lumber, and millwork. Are you building a new home? Bring your contractor in to Mid-South Lumber and meet with a member of their sales team to discuss your framing, siding, windows, and doors. Mid-South Lumber, the biggest little lumber yard in Panama City. 717 West 11th Street.
Golf is a game that should be fun, but to have the most fun, you need to play your best. That's where the experts at Golf Plus come in. Their friendly staff will guide you through the buying process, answer all your questions, and can help with any repairs you need along the way. Golf Plus is your custom fitting, club repair, and golf retail shop. Golf Plus staff is non-commissioned and will work with you to find the best product for your game, just like they've been doing since 1988. Golf Plus in Panama City Beach. Fitting, repair, retail. That's Golf Plus.
WGSX Lynn Haven, WVLQ Port St. Joe. Powered by Panama City Toyota. ESPN Northwest Florida. Broadcasting from the CBC Construction Studios. This is where heroes are created, legends are born, and dynasties forged. The Sports Talk Monster. ESPN Northwest Florida. Now back to the Afternoon Underdogs.
It's hour number 2 of the Afternoon Underdogs. You're tuned into ESPN Northwest Florida. Man, big shout out to Jay Chapman. I'm going to have him coming on for the rest of the baseball season on Thursdays for a large portion of it when he can to talk some baseball with us. But I had forgotten about that today. So we just had a conversation. We're going to pick that up next week. We'll still go on with our planned show from today. But big shout out to Jay Chapman for being understanding. And y'all go check him out at Chapman Wealth Management. What a great human being, and just love being able to talk some baseball with him. But we've also got a great human being on the line with us over there on the Red 7Ts line in Austin Siegel. He is the Assistant Director of Player Personnel for the Temple Owls. He's a great friend of the show. He just an amazing young man. His dad is the coach over there in North Bay Haven, Coach Andy Siegel, and he used to run the board here at ESPN Northwest Florida.
His brother can kick some ass if you want to wrestle.
Yeah, you don't. Hey, so let's start there. Austin, when's the last time that you had a little wrestling action with your brother Bear?
It's been a while. I don't know. He's gotten too big for me now. I don't know if I should mess around with him too much, but if you ask him, he thinks he can beat me now. If you ask me, we'll never find out.
That's the right older brother answer right there. Man, it's good to hear from you, bro. So proud of you. How's it been up there for you at Temple?
It's great. Yeah, I'm very lucky with how everything worked out for me. Obviously, like with staff changes and stuff, it's always really, really dicey for guys like me and the support staff roles. But I got really, really lucky with Coach Keeler and his philosophy when he came in. It was, obviously he came from Sam Houston, where they won 10 games last year and were, a top team in the out of the group of fives. And he didn't bring any staff with him except for his general manager. So that gave me an opportunity to even stay because, 99% of the time a coach takes a new job, they bring the staff with them, and brings in his own guys. But he was very, open to essentially interviewing everybody. And so he told us when he first got in the door, he looked all of us in the eye and said, each one of you, you're going to get the month of December to work your tails off for me. And if you end up doing a good job and show me your value, I'll absolutely keep you. And I was, able to show that and get kept on around here because Temple's a pretty good spot. So I'm loving it.
Hey, that wasn't lucky, man. That was you doing your job, man. So good for you, Austin.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
No worries, man.
I tried.
Well, you're there, so you did what you were tasked to do, man, and like one of the 1% or whatever. So good for you, buddy.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate it.
Is it as tough as like your dad was a coach? You got to see behind the scenes and all of that stuff. Is it as tough or tougher than what your dad kind of portrayed or told you about when you were getting ready to get into this field?
I had a pretty good idea just from him. Like I kind of knew what I was getting into. It this time was a lot better than this time was better in certain ways, but. Because obviously I went through a staff change at Louisiana Monroe too, where Terry Bowden got fired, and so I was on the chopping block there as well and survived that one. So this one was a little different because the names that I heard flying around, there was like a few head coaching names that I was like, all right, if this guy gets it, I need to get my resume ready, because there's people that are historically known for bringing their entire staff with them. And so this one was a little more, it was better for me in the fact that once Coach Keeler got the job, I had a connection to the general manager, so I kind of knew, all right, I have somewhat of a chance, but it was scary on the front end because some of the head coaching guys that were up, or some of the head coaches that were up for the gig, I was like, I hope he doesn't get it. So it's not great. There's a saying I heard, football's a wonderful career, but a terrible business.
Yeah.
So that's literally what it is. So
now that general manager position has been something that's kind of been exploding in the landscape of college football. Courtney Morgan with Alabama. You look at Stanford, they've got Andrew Luck. When you were going to McPherson or Waldorf, was that something that, and maybe not at those specific schools, but at other schools, were you aware of that position of general manager?
So general manager didn't become a thing until NIL became a thing. And so the whole purpose of a general manager is essentially to manage your roster's money. And there was no need for that before that happened. So now technically NIL is going away. It's not going away, but it's not really what teams are going to be using to pay their players. Now they're using revenue sharing, which is essentially a part of the revenue that the program generates is going to be going to the players. And now it's a true salary cap almost. Like teams literally have a number that they're given, and that's, hey, this is the number we need to stay under for our roster, and then they divvy it up. So it's full-blown professional sports, and you need somebody who's in a full-time role to manage that. And a head coach can't do it because they have way too many responsibilities to be sitting there dealing with in crunching numbers. And, you need somebody experienced with that. So that's why the GM position has exploded, and that's why you have so many NFL guys going down to college. And then you have so many college guys going up to the NFL because it's literally the same thing now.
So with that, and NIL will still be a thing, though, right?
Yeah, no, it's like players can still go out and get the endorsement deals and do all that stuff. But before, schools were not directly allowed to pay players.
Right.
So to pay their players, they would just go get them those endorsement deals. Now we can just straight up pay them out of our own pockets. So they don't need to do that anymore. So now it's more so up to the player to go get those deals. Like if, Carson Beck wants to go, do a deal with a truck dealership, he can go do that, and he can still go get that on top of his revenue sharing money. But the school necessarily isn't going to assist a ton with him getting that because now they can just pay him straight out of the pocket,
So is that at a benefit for, or does it create more parity, or does it create more separation from the top teams towards the middle of the tier, the middle tier?
So I'm not exactly sure how it fully works for the Power Fours yet because they're all kind of closed doors. But from the people I've talked to, like I have a really close buddy that's at West Virginia, and he kind of told me how it's working in that conference, and there is a limit that all those schools have to be under, which is essentially a salary cap. And I don't know that number, but some were spending more, some were spending less previously. Now they all kind of have to meet that number. And I know, like, for the American Conference, I don't know. To my knowledge, we were the first one to do this. But the American Conference, the president of the American Conference, came around to each school and literally looked the president and the head football coach of each school in the eye and said, hey, to be in the American Athletic Conference, you're going to need to pay your student athletes $10 million over the next 3 years in order to stay. If you opt into this and you agree to do this, then you can stay in the American Athletic Conference. If you don't, his exact quote to us was, "I'll help you find another conference." So, like, for example, at Temple, we got looked at, and our president, we had a brand new president, literally just got in the door when this was all going down, and we have a brand new head football coach who just got in the door when all this was going down, and they kind of talked to each other, and the president decided, you know what, in order for Temple to succeed, and like, if you look historically at Temple, and this isn't, I'm just using Temple as the example, obviously every school, this is the situation, but most schools, when they were at their peak student enrollment, peak income, peak everything, their sports were succeeding. And it wasn't because of the sports, but the sports is what got the ball rolling. You got the brand out there, and then students go, oh, I've never heard of Temple before. They have a really good basketball team. I'd love to go there and watch basketball games. Or, oh, man, they got a really good football team. I'd love to go there and watch the football games. And then all of a sudden your enrollment goes up. And our president of the university realized that. And so he went, all right, I'm in. And so he signed it on the dotted line that, all right, we'll pay our student athletes $10 million over the next 3 years. And so that's something that like they have agreed upon, and the whole conference has agreed upon because they had to. And so all of that to be said, it's I don't know about the parity necessarily. I think there's still going to be a gap, because the issue is the Power 4 schools can just come in, and whatever we pay our guys, they can pay them more because they have more. There's not really anything we can do about that, but what we can do is we can be competitive in the fact that we can pay guys a good enough amount of money to where they are very well taken care of, and they're going to be leaving college with a really nice chunk of change. And the selling point that we give guys to go, because, like, for example, we just in this high school class, this 2026 high school class, we've beaten Syracuse out on guys. We've beaten Pitt out on guys. Haven't beat Penn State yet. We're working on that.
Hey, let's go.
They're tough to beat. But our selling point to those guys is, hey, yeah, you can go there and go get paid a lot of money right now, and it'd be great. Or you can come here and you can make a really good living here over the next 4 years, get really nice money, maybe not quite as good as what they would give you, but really nice money. And then at the end of your 4 years, you've got, you played for us, you started for us however many years, and then you go to the NFL, and then you make money for your life. Like, that's lifelong money. Mm-hmm. And that's been working for us pretty well, because a lot of these kids are scared to go to a Power 4 right away out of high school, because if you don't play, you're not going to you got to play in college to go to the league. Like, that's just kind of how that works. And the Power 4s are loading up so heavily on the portal that high school kids can get buried pretty quick. And so that part of it is good. Like, we're getting way better high school recruits right out the gate than we would have before. So I think it's just different, and it'll take a couple of years to see how it all plays out, but it's just a different landscape,
You're listening to ESPN Northwest Florida right now. We're on the line with Austin Siegel. He is with Temple Football. He's the Assistant Director of Player Personnel. Austin, what's a typical game day like for you? Take us through your routine.
Yeah, so we play at the Eagles Stadium.
Link,
which is pretty awesome. Yeah, the Link. Yep. So the special. That's a pretty sweet stadium. So
you're around greatness all the time.
That's right. I actually, and this is a little side story before I get into this, but we were taking recruits to the Link this was maybe 2 weeks ago, on a visit, and I'm with some guys, and we're walking up to our locker room because our locker room faces the Eagles locker room, and the Eagles locker room is almost never open. This was the only time I had ever seen it open, and so I'm walking with recruits, and I look to my left to where the Eagles locker room is, and the doors are wide open. And I don't see anybody, so I'm like, I think this is an open invitation. So I took the recruits in there just because, hey, if they didn't want us in there, I don't think they would have left it open, And they had the Super Bowl trophy just in like a glass case right in the middle of the locker room.
Let's go.
And I was just standing right up next to it, and I'm like, man, this thing is sweet. And I'm showing the recruits, and I'm playing this up like as much as I could.
Like, this is normal.
Shoot, yeah, this is open all the time, So it was kind of funny that's a cool thing that like the players, like the recruits didn't realize, like, wow, like we really are like literally using everything the Eagles get, like their locker room's right here, ours faces it, and is literally just a mirror image of it. So it's pretty sweet. So I'm sorry, that was a little side note about the Link, but
no, that was a great story.
yeah. But on game days, we always stay in the hotel, and so I'll travel down with the team on the buses. When we pull into the stadium, we do a little what's called a fly-in, where we walk through the band's playing, the cheerleaders are dancing, right through the tailgate. So there you got a bunch of fans who have whatever you name it in their hands, and they're having a good time. And then we just walk right into the stadium, and then pretty much for warm-ups. This year I'll be doing something a little different. Last year I was our analytics guy, so I was kind of I had our book where I was helping our head coach make all the game management decisions. I didn't pregame. I was usually just studying that, making sure I had everything right in order. But now I won't be doing that. Now I get to just focus because we got a very experienced head football coach who doesn't need analytics.
So y'all aren't using analytics to call plays and stuff?
Not anymore. No. Coach Keeler talked to me, and he was like, I've been a head coach for 34 years. I don't think I need a book to tell me what to do. And
sounds familiar, doesn't it?
What's that?
It kind of sounds like your dad.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah. So I kind of laughed, and I was like, yeah, because really our previous head coach, Coach Drayton, he was an NFL guy for a long time, and that's what the NFL runs off of, his analytics. So, he was huge into it, and I mean, I'd say 98% of the time he went with whatever the book said, because he trusted the numbers so much. So that was really unique and interesting.
Yeah, that's a nice way to put it. I was looking through the box scores of the games last year. That's an interesting way to put it.
It's very interesting. Yeah, it was a lot of like for me personally, it was very stressful because I knew like whatever I interpreted out of this book, we were going to do. So like fourth down conversions, if I said to go for it, we were going for it. Or 2-point conversions, we were going for it. Like as long timeouts, I called all the timeouts too.
You called the timeouts? Oh, dude, that sounds like
I did,
fun.
Yeah. So yeah, you had to map it out. So like it was always like outside of the 2-minute warning, it was a way for us to try to steal an extra drive before half, and so that was what was one of the things in the book is it kind of walks you through like, all right, in this scenario, if it's a 3rd and 3 on their own 45, and if there's this much time left, you need to call a timeout now. And then there's some interpretations too, because like not everything can be covered in the books. Like sometimes you gotta kind of just use the general principles that the analytics teaches you and call a timeout from there. But yeah, no, it was pretty wild. It was pretty stressful at times too. But yeah, it was fun and unique. But this year pre-games, I'll just be standing down by the other team and kind of just taking notes on their players because we advance scout other teams and stuff. So.
Sounds like a lot of fun. Let me ask you this. Well, all right, give me your most memorable game from last year, and what game are you looking forward to the most this year?
Most memorable was, I'd say easily Oklahoma. Oklahoma at night, week 1. was an unbelievable environment, and that was my first game even doing the analytics, so I was thrown into the fire on that one. It was great. That's a memorable one. And then unfortunately the other memorable one is UConn last year, where we were on the 1 yard line with 3 seconds to go. We QB sneaked it, and unfortunately we fumbled the snap, and then UConn housed it 99 yards for a touchdown to win the game. So that was unfortunate to see, but then I'll always remember that, which stinks. But this year I'm pretty pumped for Oklahoma to come to us now. We have a home game. Yeah, we have a home game against Oklahoma, which will be awesome. And then I'm pretty excited for Georgia Tech as well. We're going down to Georgia Tech the week after, so that'll be a great one as well, because I've heard Georgia Tech's got a pretty good environment and a pretty good team. So. Well, that's the two I'm most excited for, and then I know we're also going to Army. I forget what week, and I've heard that's an unbelievable place to play a football game at too. So there's a couple good stops for us this year.
Is it almost a letdown, like if you're not going somewhere like Oklahoma or something like that, almost a letdown just because you guys are blessed enough to be playing in the link, and so you have state-of-the-art everything?
Well, I'd say, yeah, like if we go to other teams in our conference, it's hard to find a stadium that's nicer than ours.
Yeah.
Like there's a couple teams, like USF for now is playing it at the Buff Stadium.
Okay.
We haven't played there yet. I haven't been there for that yet. But so like there's a couple teams in the American that play in NFL stadiums, or UTSA plays in the Alamo Dome. Like that's a cool one too, that we played at last year. But as far as like Group of 5 stadiums go, like it's very hard to find one nicer than the Link, because I mean it literally is an NFL stadium that seats 65,000, and that's the good thing for us is like if we get winning again, like we did back in 2015 when College Game Day was at Temple, and Temple was the top 20 team in the country. If we can get like that again, we can. I mean, there's a path for us to get back into the Power Four. I wouldn't put that like past us. And that's why the American is kind of taking the lead out of all the Group of 5 conferences, because they've got the best financial standing, and then they've got the best teams that could all potentially make that jump. So, we couldn't be in a better spot, but it's all just time will tell.
Yeah, man.
Let's go.
I love listening to this, bro. This is great stuff. Let me ask you this. College football came out last year. EA Sports College Football 25 came out last year. We've got 26 coming out July 10th. How big of a factor is that, maybe in recruiting, but just like the buzz from the players themselves? Like how much do they talk about? Do they care about it? Is that even anything that they talk about being in the game?
They talk about it constantly. Whenever the ratings come out every year, that's like Coach Keeler always tries to plug his ears, because he gets tired of hearing the players go, "Man, they made me a 68." Like, oh, come on, it's pretty funny, and they'll mess with each other too. Like the freshmen, they obviously don't get very high ratings, so the seniors on the team will usually mess with the freshmen, like, "Hey, man, don't talk to me. You're 64 overall," So there's a little bit of messing with each other on that part of it. But this year's a little crazy because the coaches are in the game now. So
yeah,
like Coach Keeler's in it, and our offensive and our defensive coordinators are both in it too. So they were walking down the hallway joking about it one day too. So if everybody in the building talks about it, and we use it in recruiting every single weekend. I mean, we have it on our TVs in our players' lounge, and the recruits always play each other in it, and players are always in there playing each other, and it's become a part of every program. I mean, and I don't know any FBS program that doesn't. The fact that they're in the game doesn't use that to their advantage.
Yeah, and I'll be sure to use Temple a few times online this year, so I can try to help y'all make a little bit of money along the way. That is so crazy to me, man. I'm so glad that this game is back, but the time that it came back is like the fact that it is a recruiting tool. A video game is a recruiting tool is absolutely awesome. What's one of the best parts of your job at Austin?
Man, it's like the part that always gets me is I had this realization last year. I remember pregame against Coastal Carolina. I was just sitting on the bench with the other recruiting guy, and we were just sitting there kind of just watching warm-ups, and because things were just getting rolling. And I was sitting there thinking, like, man, I get to go when I wake up and I go to work. I get to go on every Saturday. I get to go to a game day environment that has, however many thousand people, and I get to be in front of a crowd and run out of a tunnel, and I get paid to do it. And that's the part that always makes me sit back and think, like, I get paid to do this stuff, and I know it's a really hard job, and there's a lot of downsides to it. But what the one thing that makes people work in football is the crowd and the fans and the environment that you get to be in. And like situations like going to Oklahoma and playing them at a Friday night game on the primetime ESPN, like that's something that I'll always get to cherish and hold that in the rest of my life. And not a lot of people can say that, that they were on the field running out of the tunnel against Oklahoma on a Friday night in prime time. So, like, things like that's the coolest part of it. And I know that someday it always comes to an end for everybody, because football is a really tough business to hang around. And the lucky ones, like Nick Saban, they it works out for them. But very few Nick Sabans out there, as you know. So I'm just trying to ride this out as long as I can, and hopefully it works out for me, and I get to keep doing the cool stuff like that, down the road. But it's pretty awesome that I get to do that on Saturdays, for sure.
Well, I'm proud of you, man, and it's been so great catching up with you via the radio, where it all kind of started for you, and then your football career kept going, and now you're still in the game of football, and I'm so happy for you, man, and you sound great, and looking forward to those Temple Owls this year. I do got to take a break, brother, but maybe let's catch up one more time before the season starts.
Sounds good, man. Yeah, just let me know.
All right. Austin Siegels, ladies and gentlemen. He's up there in Pennsylvania with Temple and the Owls there. He is your assistant director of player personnel. Just so proud of that young man. The first time I ever met him and being able to talk to him like this, I like this young man, because there's a bit of an age difference between us, and his nose to the grindstone is just.
Hey, I feel the same way, and I'm older than you significantly, too, in a way. So, Austin's a good kid. He's good people.
No doubt about it. All right, we're going to take a quick timeout. When we get back, we're going to have Sam Kavaris on the line with us.
ESPN Northwest Florida. It's the Coach James Hale Show.
All state, all this, all that, and we didn't even know. Did you have any idea? Hey, Coop, did you have any idea at all you had won all that stuff when you were in here? Were you not shocked, Coop?
I love it.
There you go. You love it, okay.
True Gator.
Yeah.
Weekday morning 7 to 9. ESPN Northwest Florida.
Good evening. This is Joanna on ESPN Northwest Florida with Thursday's weather forecast. A mixture of some clouds and a chance of thunderstorms tonight with a low near 76 and a wind 1 to 5 miles per hour. A chance of thunderstorms and light sprinkles tomorrow morning and a temperature of 84. About the same in the afternoon and evening around 85 with likely thunderstorms and light sprinkles. Likely thunderstorms and light showers Saturday and hot around 85. This forecast is brought to you by Earthworks of Northwest Florida. Thank you for keeping that dial at ESPN Northwest Florida. Rely on it.
Tired of flipping through channels and finding nothing good? Introducing Scorpion TV. Over 5,000 live streaming channels. Catch every game of the season with over 100 sports networks, including ESPN, ESPN Plus, the NFL Network, and Red Zone. Even pay-per-view events. Watch 400 local network channels from Panama City and most markets throughout the country. Fox, ABC, CBS, and NBC. It's more than sports. Scorpion TV offers premium movie channels like HBO, Cinemax, Stars, 200 plus entertainment and news networks, or watch thousands of movies on demand, all for just $45 a month when you use the ESPN NW promo code at checkout. Watch on up to 5 devices at the same time. Perfect for sharing with family and friends. Scorpion TV gives you everything you want for less. Cut the cord, not the fun. To score Scorpion TV, go to ESPNPC.com and click on the Scorpion TV logo. Don't forget our promo code ESPNNW.
Broadcasting from the CBC Construction Studios. Get the edge on the competition with the latest lines, expert picks, and everything you need to place your bets. Elevate your game day experience with ESPN Northwest Florida. Now back to the Afternoon Underdogs. ESPN Northwest Florida.
Welcome back into the Doghouse. Your Atlanta Braves will be following us here on the Afternoon Underdogs, coverage starting at 6. First pitch tonight at 6 p.m. Braves baseball on ESPN Northwest Florida is brought to you locally by Best Way Portable Buildings, Reliable Hydraulic Solutions, Mid-South Lumber, and Brock Pest Control. The Red 7Ts line is open for text right now at 850-215-6290. If you have any questions for Sam Kavaris talking some questions pertaining to the Jaguars, text those into us and we'll read them off to him as well. Our next guest is Sam Kavaris. He is a columnist, reporter, anchor, journalist, and he has a website, samsportsline.com. Sam, thanks again for giving us some of your time, and I apologize for all of the confusion earlier.
No problem at all. How are you over there?
Doing well, man. Yeah, I had a former ball player in Jay Chapman. He he has a business here. He came from Panama City, Florida, and I forgot that last week I told him, hey, moving forward, can you do Thursdays for a segment with me? And I had a couple of things happen this week that I had to rearrange, so then he walks in, and now I'm like, oh, man, let me start rearranging everything. And he was like, listen, man, it's not a big deal. We can just get back to it next week. I was like, if you don't mind, then that would actually be that would work out. So, good. Sam, thank you again for dealing with that and for being with us. What are your thoughts on how the Jaguars are going to end up? I know that this is a question that has been beaten over and over again, but what do you think the Jaguars, how will they go about using Travis Hunter in the beginning of the season?
Well, I think he's going to start as probably the off-wide receiver with Brian Thomas Jr., obviously probably in the X position. But when you look at Hunter as kind of the off guy, or even occasionally in the slot, they're going to put some defensive packages together for him: third and longs, goal line, end of quarters. I mean, end of half, end of game, and I think he's too valuable not to put over there because of his ball skills. And I'm sure everybody has seen that clip from the OTAs where he's playing man. He gets in the end zone, he sticks one hand up and taps the ball, and as he's falling, he catches it. I mean, his ball skills are so tremendous that it's hard to not stick him in there in situations where, if it's a 6-point game and the other team's coming down the field, you want Travis Hunter on the field to go get that thing when if it's in the air. But the Jaguars are such an interesting team this year with a new head coach and obviously a new general manager who eschews the draft picks, much like the guy he worked for in L.A., Les Snead. I mean, he was looking for guys who can play. I mean, it's the only reason you sign a linebacker who's an 8-year veteran. You know what this guy can do. You know the kind of locker room guy he is. You know the things he can do on special teams, how he can step in if necessary to play back there. And, I mean, look at the Jaguars' offensive line. You realize the Jaguars have 14 offensive linemen currently on their roster.
My goodness. That's almost 3 at every position.
Right. So, and I think it's 4 or 5 of them were on the roster last year. And, they only keep 5, maybe 7. And, 7 guys are active. They may keep an 8th guy, and he's inactive every Sunday. But, there's going to be plenty of competition there, and it's a lot of new guys. And you would expect some guys to, obviously be starters. Harrison at that right tackle, and Ezra Cleveland probably is going to be one of the guards. But, I mean, everything else is wide open. The Jaguars have got to fix that problem. They've got to address it. You can't be the worst team in the league on 3rd and 1 and 4th and 1 and expect to win close games. I mean, that's just look at the teams that can do that. Obviously, the Eagles are the expert at the, they still call it the tush push, but even 3rd and 1. I mean, think about Tom Brady and the Patriots and all the different teams, the Lions, who can make that play to keep drives going in close games, to run out the clock or kick a field goal or whatever it is. But if you can't do that, you can't really expect to be more than a 500 team.
What side of the ball do you think he will end up being better on? Maybe not when it's all said and done, but let's say end of the year. Do you think that he will be known more for his defense or for his offense?
I think he'll make some spectacular plays on defense, and I think offensively, I think he's a guy who can get open, and most importantly, and it sounds stupid, right? he can catch the football, right? I mean, how many times do you see wide receivers run out there and it hits them in the hands and the ball's on the ground? That's not him. Ball comes to him, he catches it, and he knows how to catch the football, which is what gives him such great ball skills on defense. So, I mean, I think he's going to be a very steady kind of influence offensively, really creating matchup problems, because if they're going to try to double Thomas on the other side or roll the defense that way, that leaves Hunter open for, 3rd and 6. I mean, all of a sudden he's 8 yards down the field and he's wide open. So to me, that's it. And I'm very curious to see what Cohen does with the tight end position and with the slot guy. I mean, is Parker Washington the third wide receiver? At this point, it kind of looks like it. But the tight end, they let Evan Ingram walk. Obviously, that's a little bit of a salary cap issue. But he was Trevor's kind of, security blanket. So, the only tight end they got on the roster that seems to be familiar is Brenton Strange. So I think there's a question about what does Liam Cohen like to do with that tight end position. And if you look back to what they did with Tampa Bay last year, he likes a guy who can block, who also is going to be a wide receiver. But he likes a guy who can move that defensive end off the line of scrimmage. And if you look at the tight ends that they have, it's a bunch of big guys. It's not anybody who weighs 200 pounds. It's some big guys who obviously look like they can do that.
So, Sam, this is Caveman Rick. You brought up the tush push or the brotherly shove earlier. I was wanting to ask, I'm an Eagles fan, by the way, how you felt about the Packers trying to, eliminate that play and bring it up, with the Rules Committee about trying to vote against eliminating that. What's your thoughts?
I mean, for years, since the beginning of time, it seemed like, since the beginning of the NFL, it was illegal for offensive guys to push other offensive guys forward. And then they kind of changed that rule. I mean, you might remember Matt Leinart and Reggie Bush, and that 1 year. I mean, he literally grabs you by the jersey and shoves him in the end zone. And you see a lot of that now because they changed the rule. I don't like that. I think an offensive guy, once he gets, I think he should be on his own once he makes contact. And I think that and that would encapsulate that rule. That would make that illegal. I just don't think that there's. I think there may not be a lot of opportunity for injury in that brotherly shove, but when you're downfield and you're everybody's standing up and they're trying to get you down, all of a sudden 350-pound offensive linemen are jumping into the pile to move it. I mean, the opportunity for injury really is there, and I don't think that's part of the game. But I mean, that's rugby. That's not football.
Ooh. I haven't heard it put exactly like that. It is closer to rugby, right? Because that's a scrum, right?
But that's what offensive and defensive lines do. You know, you have very little space in between, and they're
going that low, though.
Yeah,
yeah.
I mean,
well, I don't mind watching what's going on. Between professional, big guys who are talented and strong. But once that contact is made, I'm not so sure that there should be other guys involved in that. I mean, that's just kind of the purist in me. I mean, that's I guess my get off my lawn comment.
Yeah, I love it. And we love get off my lawn comments, especially on Mondays when we've got Coach Brian Haddad in with us. What's been the best offseason addition, non-draft, not a draft pick, but just the best offseason addition so far, in your opinion, for the Jacksonville Jaguars?
I like it when you go out and get a guy who has some experience, who can do some things. And as I mentioned earlier, you don't just go sign a guy who's an 8-year veteran because. I mean, they signed Dennis Gardeck from the Cardinals. And, I mean, he's a linebacker is what he's listed. But, he's a locker room guy. He's a special teams guy. Going to hold other guys accountable. I mean, I like that kind of addition. I like it when they go get guys like that, because it's what the NFL kind of lost in the late 90s and early 2000s when the salary cap really started to affect teams, and they all of a sudden the players who were 4 to 7 year veterans, because of the minimum salary, not to help push teams up against the cap, they would get rid of those guys in favor of rookies. Well, okay, the talent level probably wasn't that much difference, but the difference in what's the guy like in the weight room? What's the guy like in practice? What's the guy like in the locker room? Is he going to hold the other guys accountable? Those are the kind of things that a rookie can't do. But a guy who's been in the league 5 years, who now is making the 5-year minimum, which, is not unsubstantial amount of money, that's the kind of difference that you see on teams that win. They have a few of those guys sprinkled in, and that's always been the case in the NFL. Players that have some experience, who are able not only to teach, but to not let things go south. I think last year we talked about it. The Jaguars were the most talented, bad football team I'd ever seen.
Yeah.
And it's because they had nobody like that. It's zero players like that. Even Trevor Lawrence said, we are too fragile. Well, the reason you're fragile is because Calais Campbell's not on that team looking at everybody in the locker room saying, what are you doing? Okay? And that was a fault. That was Trent Baalke's fault. And, he was always seemed to be interested in the shiny new thing as opposed to, a very steadying influence that the Jaguars don't have. Now, in his 5th year, maybe Trevor is that now. Not a vocal guy. He's never going to be a vocal guy. But maybe he is that kind of steadying influence. He's tremendously talented. A lot of people have given up on him. I think the ceiling is unlimited for him. It's kind of hard to play that position when your second read is who's coming to kill me, right?
That is a great point, and hopefully one of those 14 or 5 of those 14 offensive linemen will jump in and try to keep Trevor Lawrence upright this year. Give me a breakout player on each side of the ball. Maybe you could go with the same name if you'd like to, but give us someone who you think is going to be breaking out for the Jaguars this year, offensively and defensively.
Hey, a guy who needs to have a breakout season, and I think this might be it, is Tank Bigsby. He's one of those guys that when you need the tough yards, that's why the previous administration drafted him. He had some fumble problems as a rookie. He's fixed that, it seems. But if you've got short yardage and there's a little hole there, he needs to be able to move the pile. If you remember, Maurice Jones-Drew, for all rather diminutive, he moved the pile. When he hit the pile, it went in that direction. And you need somebody like that. For the Jaguars to be successful offensively, I think Bigsby's got to have a big year. I think he's got to have a breakout kind of year. Defensively, I'm very curious to see what they do with Trayvon Walker because, there's the number 1 pick in the draft. He was kind of a safe pick because you knew what a phenomenal athlete he was and what he was going to do. But he did not have any it factor whatsoever. The Lions ended up getting the it factor player. The Jaguars passed on him. So I think Walker needs to have a breakout year this year. He's been very solid, very steady, good player. But instead of 8 sacks, he needs to have 18. That's the kind of player that you want the first pick overall in the draft who has that kind of talent. That's the one. That's the guy that you want to really be a star. I know Josh Hines-Allen has got plenty of speed and he can get to the quarterback. But in 3rd and 1, that's who I'm running at because he's not big enough to kind of set the edge like that. But Walker certainly is, and I think that's the guy you look to have kind of a breakout year. And if he does, then all of a sudden the Jaguars are in a lot more games at the end of it.
Yeah, I mean, that's a phenomenal point because been kind of waiting on that breakout from Tank, and same with Trayvon Walker there. So, and Josh Hines Allen has gotten more of the notoriety, but if Trayvon Walker can perhaps break out this year, both of those guys, then I'm going to hate that as a Tennessee Titans fan, but that's neither here nor there because we want every team to be as good as possible here on the Afternoon Underdogs. Fill in this blank for me. Actually, let's start with let's go this direction, then I'll have the fill in the blank question for you. What's one under the radar storyline that Jacksonville Jaguar fans aren't talking about right now, but they should be?
Whether Trevor Lawrence is going to emerge this year. I think, there's a lot of talk about the rest of the roster, and Travis Hunter is just sucking up every piece of ink and airways that there is. And I think the thing is, you're in the league 5 years, and I know he was hurt most of last year, but you're in the league 5 years as a quarterback. Now's the time you're going to be able to show whether you're ever going to ascend to that Pro Bowl kind of player that people anticipated him to be. And there hasn't been a lot of talk about Trevor, I guess, because he was the only storyline for so long. But I think that's the storyline, along with what's going to happen in that linebacking core that that makes a difference. Is Olakun? 2 of the last 3 years he was the leading tackler in the league, but he's not a real big guy. He's just a hustle guy, smart guy, understands the game, really is a wonderful player, but he's not a thumper. Who's going to emerge as that thumper on defense? I think that's what people should be looking for. Who is that guy that the other teams come to the line of scrimmage and go, yeah, we really don't want to run at that guy. Because he's going to stand in the hole and make it hurt.
I like that, having a good thumper on the defensive side of the ball. And then we'll get to the fill-in-the-blank question here. The Jaguars will win the AFC South if blank happens.
If they average more than 100 yards per game rushing.
Ooh. I like it. I like that. What would you say is the floor? What is the ceiling for this Jacksonville Jaguars team?
If they suffer injuries and can't get the offensive line fixed, they'll go 6-11. If they get all that fixed, they could go 11-6.
Those are I would say that's a perfect floor and ceiling for the Jaguars, and who would know better than Sam Kovaris, who is on with the Afternoon Underdogs right now on ESPN Northwest Florida. One more question before we let you go. I was looking on your website earlier, samsportsline.com. I didn't have time to click on it, so I do apologize for that, but I am going to go home and read this evening because I love the headline captured me. What is the difference, or just give us a brief explanation, maybe tease the article if you'd like to, the difference between talented and good in the NFL?
Well, that's an article about last year's Jaguar team.
Oh.
Because, they were super talented. They're wonderful talent. But the line between talent in the NFL, if you played in a flag football game with the last guy to get cut from an NFL team, you'd think it was unfair he was so good. And he wasn't good enough to be in the NFL. It's like playing a pickup basketball game with the 12th guy on some NBA roster. You never even heard of him. You're playing with him, you're like, this is totally unfair. The guy plays the whole game above the rim. But, that's not the only thing about the game. And you figure out how not to party every night. Don't smoke so much weed. What kind of nutrition are you? Are you willing to put the hours in? Are you what kind of traveler are you? Are you willing to suck it up at the end of the third quarter, or are you the lay down guy? The Jaguars last year had so much talent, and in fact, he was wrong. But Shad Khan said it was the most talented team ever assembled for the Jaguars, and it's not even close to the 99 team, which not only was the best Jaguar team, that's one of the best NFL teams ever assembled. And they lost to the Titans 3 times, as you well know. But
I wasn't going to say nothing, Sam.
But, But they were last year. They did have a lot of talent. They spent a bunch of money in free agency. They had a lot of pieces in place, and they had nobody to lead them. And that leadership has to come on the field. It can't come from, at the time, Doug Peterson or Liam Cohen or James Gladstone. Or it can't come from any of those guys. Got to be a guy on the field. Got to be a guy who's in the locker room when it's just those 53 guys. It's got to be a guy in there that they look to, which is the unforgivable sin was when Calais Campbell came here 3 years ago and said I'd like to come back, and Trent Baalke looked at him and said, why are you here? Because he had no concept that the locker room in many cases is as important as what happens between the lines out there.
Yes, I don't know how a general manager or how anyone cannot, anyone involved in the actual game cannot have that awareness that the locker room is so important. I mean, it's in sports, outside of sports, the cohesion between your company is extremely important, and I don't get that. But Sam, we're out of time.
Real quick.
Yes, of course.
The end of the year, I'll tell you this real quick. The end of the year last year, the Ravens really wanted Calais Campbell to come up there to finish out and help them with a playoff run, and they talked to Miami, and Miami had the deal done. And the head coach in Miami went to the general manager and went to Campbell and said, absolutely not. You're too important in the locker room. And that's why he was still a Dolphin.
Yeah, well, good. So that was the head coach of the Dolphins, Mike McDaniel?
Exactly. And, when Calais was here, he's one of the finest people I've ever met. I begged him to live in Jacksonville when he retired. And he laughed. He goes, they asked me that in Denver, and they asked me that in Phoenix, too. And I said, well, for sure. The impact you can have on our community is immeasurable. Mm-hmm. And he's a wonderful player and a better guy. And that's why he was the Walter Payton Man of the Year the year the Jaguars traded him. That's ridiculous.
That is ridiculous. Great stuff, Sam. Looking forward to chatting with you soon. Looking forward to the NFL season. Take care out there, and we'll catch up with you soon, all right?
Very good. Thanks.
That is Sam Kavares, ladies and gentlemen. Make sure you go check out samsportsline.com, especially as we edge closer to the season here. But I do remember asking him now about this article the last time that we had him on. But it's a great article again, and because I remember I pulled it up during this segment here, and I remembered after seeing it, I'm like, oh yeah, this is familiar. But that's going to do it for us here in this segment. We've got one more segment to go, and it's going to be about 5 or so minutes long. So we'll talk about a few things before we let you guys out of the doghouse. Keep it locked into ESPN Northwest Florida.
Celebrating 2 years of broadcasting history.
I told you this would work.
It's the Best of Bay awarded Inside Drive on 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida. Weekdays 11 to 1 with Ryan Mulvey.
I love it.
Covering the biggest stories, breaking news, the latest trades, and taking your calls. The Inside Drive is live and local middays from the Gulf Plus studios.
Happy anniversary.
Becky was on roids.
On ESPN Northwest Florida.
When you bring your vehicle to Panama City Toyota for repairs or maintenance, you'll get the warmest welcome around.
That's because we see service differently.
It's not only an expert team that can help with everything, from simple adjustments to a new set of tires. It's also a team that values your time, so we make your experience as quick and comfortable as possible. Because we're committed to service that goes beyond. Only at Panama City Toyota.
With over 65 years of combined experience, Instant Replay Sports Cards is happy to help you take your collection to the next level. They carry all the new hobby boxes, signed memorabilia, and supplies. New and vintage cards and Pokemon. They sell and trade cards and are always looking to buy. They're an authorized source for Topps, Panini, Upper Deck, and Leaf cards. Instant Replay Sports Cards is open 7 days a week at 752 West 23rd Street, down from Academy Sports. It can always be reached at InstantReplaySportsCards.com.
Cold, creamy, and gourmet. Milkshake Factory is now open at Breakfast Point Marketplace near Publix next to First Watch. Unbelievably delicious handcrafted milkshakes and chocolates like the famous chocolate bark. Try the mouth-watering chocolate-dipped strawberry shake. Family-friendly fun and unforgettable shakes await. Milkshake Factory now open at Breakfast Point Marketplace near Publix next to First Watch on Back Beach. Milkshake Factory.
Hi, I'm Bobby Likas with another Car Clinic Minute. More may be the plaintive cry of turbocharged consumers, but it's also the voice of your vehicle's engine. When I come back, I'll tell you what the automotive beast wants more of. Like consumers burn products and services and beg for more, so do vehicle engines burn gas and air and beg for more. And just like credit limits restrict buying power, so do limitations on number and size of cylinders reduce automotive power. Okay, so how do hungry engines get their power fix? Turbochargers. Here's how one works. Trapped exhaust air spins a turbine, which then turns an air pump, which compresses air. This squeezed air takes up less room, so more can be shoved into an engine's cylinders. When more air meets gas, kapow! More energy or horsepower is created. Thankfully, aftermarket turbochargers are readily available to feed the consumer beast. I'm Bobby Likas. Like us, you'll love us.
You've found us inside the CBC Construction Studios. Now back to the Afternoon Underdogs.
But I wonder how much time he really kind of put into the playbook.
Where it's halftime all the time.
He may be the cream of this crop of quarterbacks.
The Afternoon Underdogs.
Well, they got to do something here, but otherwise this is just going to be another lost season.
ESPN Northwest Florida.
Rely on ESPN Northwest Florida for your weather. Brought to you by Mid-South Lumber, Ellis Agency Insurance, and Earthworks of Northwest Florida. For the most reliable weather, it's 104.3 on the ESPN Northwest Florida app, available on your iPhones and Android. Just go to your Google Play Store or your Apple Store. Happy 8th birthday to ESPN Northwest Florida. We've got Caveman Rick. I'm David Hayes. We're the Afternoon Underdogs. Big shout out to all of our guests today in Alan Watson, in Austin Siegel and Sam Kavaris, and of course the guest that we didn't have on the microphone, who will be with us next Thursday, Jay Chapman. So appreciative of that guy for showing up, and then me just like looking like, oh no, I overdid it this Thursday afternoon. But we will have him back next week, and really excited about that. We do have some breaking news.
Breaking news.
I will not read the entire article here, but Tampa Bay Rays shortstop Wander Franco was found guilty of sexual abuse of a minor in the Dominican Republic after he had a sexual relationship with a 14-year-old girl when he was 21 and received a suspended 2-year sentence on Friday. I did read on 2-year sentence today. I did read somewhere that it was a 5-year sentence, but I think that's what the prosecutors were aiming for.
Yeah, I think that's what they were trying to get 5, but then I think he just got 2.
So 2-year sentence, and that will most likely, that's it for him.
The mom that was involved, I heard, got 10.
Oh.
The mother of the girl.
Yeah, because she was the one who...
facilitating that, and she also took money for doing that.
Yeah.
So I think she got 10 years, I seen.
Yeah, I'm trying to find that, but I'm just skimming through an article here. We've only got a minute left. In an unrelated event, Franco was charged in June by prosecutors in the DR for illegal possession of a handgun after an altercation in a parking lot in San Juan de la Maguana. Yeah, so that is going to do it for Wander Franco. His career is done. I'm not going to say that I was holding out hope, but you just never know. Not holding out hope, no. If what was true was the truth, then that's it. You know what I mean? If you were getting, if someone was trying to get the best of you, then that's a different story.
Real quick, you had to wonder where it was going, though. Like where the country... compared to our country, how things were going to go. Where, like, if you're a prominent person with money, like, you know, you can get away with things here. In another country like that, it might make it easier for a guy like that, too.
That's a great point as well. As long as justice was served, then I am content with it. That's what it looks like, what we have here. Also, I did come up with what I want to be my... Are we at 5:57:50 here? Or 5:57?
No, we got about a minute.
Yeah. All right, so with that being said, I did come up with my home run derby. I want to have Ronald Acuna is already in there. We'll go Kyle Schwarber. We'll go PCA, and then we'll go the choice of either Juan Soto or Pete Alonso. From the American League, I'm going to go with Junior Caminero out of Tampa Bay. I'm going to give you a choice out of the Detroit Tigers between Spencer Torkelson and Riley Green.
Torkelson.
All right. Cal Raleigh. And then I'll go to the Angels, which highly unlikely. You could go with Taylor Ward, but less amount of games for Joe Adell is the fourth one. So it's not a all-star home run derby by any stretch, but it's the names that I picked atop the leaderboard, not just being the leaderboard and not having superstars. Caveman Rig, that's a beautiful Kelly Green Super Bowl Philadelphia Eagles jersey, man.
On a few different levels.
Yes, sir, but it is. I just, the NFL patch just pops to me. Hey, that's it. Jesus loves you, so do I. Y'all have a great day. Your Atlanta Braves coming up next.
Mornings on ESPN Northwest Florida just got unsportsmanlike.
The Kevin Durant situation in Houston feels a lot like the Aaron Rodgers situation with the Jets.
Oh, no.
This is not where, I'm just going to put it out there. Like,